Hey, this is Scott Perdue with FlyWire, terminating my on-the-road coverage, which wasn't extensive, of Oshkosh 25. I got a couple of interesting highlights for you. I'm already back home. It's a little bit late. What can I say? Every time I'm gone for 9 or 10 days, it takes me at least half that time to recover. I'm in the middle of prepping for an engine change on my Stearman, so I'm taking a few minutes out to get a video out. Sorry, I'm late. What can I say? Things I liked. P-38 Jandina 3 was just finished by Ezel. It's beautiful. I've been watching it over at Breckenridge, which is just west of where I am now, over the years, several years as they've been restoring it. Beautiful airplane. Great warbird lineup and turnout this year, including my T6 was there, and maybe you saw it in the BS Works podcast I did with Juan Brown, Blanco Lirio. I did fly one local during the week, but I think it was Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember which, but it was really, really hazy and very, very busy. And ended up spending 20 plus minutes circling Warbird Island until I get called in. It was really busy, and that kind of feeds in later for crowds and stuff. Vendor area, I just didn't. I got to Vintage once, and I got to the vendors just over one time, made a complete walkthrough. So I didn't really have time to do a thorough look. Sorry about that. I actually hosted 5 Brits who'd never been to Oshkosh before. They're into flying in the UK, and it was an eye-opening experience for them. I think that the night show on Wednesday night was the topper. I'd never seen anything like that at all. So this is all different. I mean, be able to get airplanes and see an air show, which goes, so quickly. I mean, there's always an act going, and in the UK, like at Duxford, there's an act, and maybe 20 or 30 minutes, there's another act, and they just put so many restrictions on what you can do in the displays, as they call it, and you can't even get close to the airplanes. So it was a real experience for them. But what I saw in the vendor area, what I thought was really interesting was Gleim. They have this new program called Crosscheck for CFI. So if you have a student that's using Gleim, and I think it's one of the best out there to learn all the kind of the ground school, because we don't do in-person ground schools anymore. But when the student's taking tests, then you can have visibility into that and see what their weak areas are, and then maybe you can work on it a little bit. They also have this new AI thing called Auto, which I think might be pretty interesting, which is it's a chatbot, basically, that acts as a DPE, and you can practice your oral questions and stuff. So I think that might be interesting. And finally, Mosaic is released. We'll see how that works out. It's that driver's license medical thing, light sport, includes almost 70% of single-engine land airplanes qualify now for this kind of a thing. Anything basically less than a clean stall of 54 knots. You can put retracts, complex, higher horsepower, basic med, class 3 medical. You can do it, but you can do your driver's license as well, as far as I know. What it's supposed to do is make flight training easier, and now the sport pilot will be the default beginning point for a student. So if you crop 20 some odd hours, you can progress and get your sport pilot and then work onto other airplanes. So we'll see how that works. One thing that I'm not sure of is you don't have type certificates anymore for airplanes under Mosaic. You have a statement of compliance. Okay. I think that remains to be seen. I had a talk on Thursday. I did Safety is Not Paramount, and it's probably coming to a video near you, maybe in October. I want to work on it a little bit. I also did a spin aerodynamics talk, and that one's probably coming to a video near you this month. Okay, so watch for that. And it's concatenation of a couple of videos I've done for single engines and twins spins. So anyway, all in one spot. So watch for that. Osh was busy. It was really crowded, big crowds. I usually calculate it by, the parking, and there were some problems with some wet ground, so they weren't able to park everywhere from heavy rains just a few days prior to the show starting. But how crowded is it in the vendor area, man? If you can barely make your way through, and you got to duck that and dodge to make your way through the vendor area, then it's getting crowded. So that's my numbers. So anyway, I have the official numbers here, and thought I'd give you a quick rundown of those. They said approximately 704,000 total people, and they say that's the highest total on record. Previous was 686 in 2024. I've been going since 96, and I remember in the late 90s and early 2000s maybe the crowds were over 800,000. That's what they said. And okay, maybe you reset the record, who knows. Let's see, there were more than 10,000 aircraft flew into Oshkosh and Whitman, and there were 16,246 aircraft operations from noon July 17 to noon July 28. That's an average of 108 takeoffs and landings per hour. And those are the ones they recorded when it was open. So that was busy. That is really, really busy. Total show planes, 2,543, 995 vintage, 910 home built, 361 warbirds, 101 ultralights and light planes, 75 aerobatic airplanes. Okay, how does that category work? Because my T6 is aerobatic. Maybe that's just plain aerobatic airplanes. I don't know. 74 seaplanes and amphibians, 18 rotorcraft, 9 balloons, and 2 Goodyear balloons. Partridge in a pear tree. I would sure want to ride in a Goodyear balloon. More than 15,000 campsites, aircraft and drive-in camping, 40,000 people camped. There were 6,000 volunteers for 300,000 hours. That's amazing. Couldn't make this happen without volunteers. There were 962 exhibitors, and they say that social media, internet, mobile, all that reached 21 million people. There were 2,305 attendees from 94 different countries, foreign countries, and there were nearly 1,000 media people. So anyway, that was a busy Oshkosh. Let's make a plan next year, and we'll meet up, and we'll do a FlyWire meetup and see if we can talk and think about topics for that and plan for next year. That's a wrap for Oshkosh 25. Looking forward to next year. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on FlyWire.